What exciting things can we expect from the camera industry in 2024? Let me tell you what my predictions are for Blackmagic, when Panasonic will unveil that top-of-the-line camera, why Sony is bringing out a new cinema camera, and which ones are on my wish list. The camera tech industry had an awesome year in 2023. Sony kept us on our toes, releasing what feels like a camera every week. Panasonic made a big return to the video world with the S5 II, providing them massive success. Red released a camera with built-in ND filters, what is a long-awaited feature for so many users. And last but not least, Blackmagic gave us the full-frame cinema camera. Let's take some time to appreciate all this new camera technology, as these cameras are just tools what help people like me and you watching to create better content. And I feel like this is a perfect time for me to just say, all the information in this video is from my own predictions from rumours I've seen online. A lot of it is really hope and desire, so take it all with a massive pinch of salt. Before we get into the exciting stuff, I have one massive favour to ask. Over 90% of the people that watch my videos haven't hit the subscribe button yet. I'm trying super hard to hit 3,000 subs by the end of the year, so if you could just hit that button to help me out, and you are interested in cameras, I promise I will bring you as much content as possible. Now, let's jump into 2024. Blackmagic's growth over the last decade has been truly remarkable. They've gone from being this company that is known for these converter boxes in the broadcast world to acquiring Resolve and making pretty bold movements in the cinema camera world. As we step into 2024, Blackmagic have now grown to being a multi-billion-dollar business. And yes, that is with a B. My predictions for Blackmagic in the coming year are really optimistic, but there is one significant issue that I'll get into a bit later. I love the image that comes out of Blackmagic's new full-frame cinema camera. There's a lot to be desired when it comes to features that I've gone over in previous videos, but when exposed properly, that sensor can produce amazing images. My worry is that we do not see this sensor in a new body anytime soon. Now that Blackmagic have joined the L-Mount Alliance and that ecosystem, I believe that their attentions may shift towards updating the rest of their camera lineup. I can see an Ursa Mini 12K with an L-mount on the front and loads of user feedback updates, and then them calling this an Ursa Mini 12K G2. Then sometime later in the year, I can see that full-frame 6K sensor finding its way into a new body design. But let me tell you why all these are possibly at risk.
Action! Good evening, and welcome to Apple Park.
Blackmagic's new iPhone camera app has seen massive success. This has surpassed any of their recent products or software releases. This, from a business standpoint, has undoubtedly now got their attention. This app is free to download, and although I personally not use the app, I'm not sure how they're going to monetize it. Maybe they see it as some sort of tool to just raise brand awareness and bring eyes to their cameras and Resolve. The success of this new iPhone app could be making Blackmagic consider whether all that R&D that is super expensive that they put into their new cinema cameras is even worth it. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. There is rumours circulating that Sony is launching a new FX line camera as soon as January. This is intriguing to me as the FX6 is performing exceptionally well for Sony. In early 2024, they have their Cine Alta Burano shipping, which is at a much higher price point. So this leaves us with two possible options that I see. Either something positioned lower than the FX6, maybe above an FX3 and FX30. Maybe it's not going to be full frame, it's going to be some Super 35 sensor. Or we look above the FX6, going to what is now Sony's oldest FX line camera, the FX9. I could see a new FX9 Mark II coming. I believe that the sales of the FX6 are cannibalizing the sales of the FX9 at this point, as so many users are choosing to go for the cheaper, smaller body. There is the possibility of the new FX9 having that global shutter sensor from the new A9, but something tells me that Sony are saving that for a Cine Alta camera, and I could see that going into a new Venice to differentiate it from the Brawner. One thing is for sure, that Sony have such a dense line of cameras that they are going to cannibalize each other regardless. So it's going to be super interesting to see where they add yet another FX line cinema camera. Another development that I expect to see in sometime in 2024 would be a Sony a7S IV. While the a7S III is actually still really competitive in today's market, it has lagged behind all the other Alpha series cameras, making its more expensive price tag harder and harder to justify over the new Alpha models. There is some people who suggest that there is no longer a need for an A7S series, as the FX3 is the video focused version of the Alpha cameras, but I believe the market for someone who wants a hybrid camera that is video focused first is still massive. And heck, when have we ever seen Sony release fewer cameras? Before we get on to what is my favourite and most anticipated camera for next year, I just wanted to touch on this sleeping giant that is Canon. It seems that Canon have neglected their cinema line of cameras over the past year or two. After the whole saga of the R5 overheating, we did get the R5C. Perhaps this one is a little on the optimistic and hopeful side, but I would love to see a new C300, possibly with a full frame sensor. And then sometime later down the road, even in 2025, we could see a new C70 following the same pattern. Canon's photography side of the business is still performing extremely well, and with Sony's new global shutter sensor technology, I do suspect that Canon will be trying desperately to compete in that kind of global shutter photography area. Let's just hope that there is enough room left over to see a new Canon cinema camera in 2023. Finally, onto the camera I am most excited about next year. Following the highly successful S5 II, it finally feels like we have someone who can challenge Sony for features and value. All this competition can only lead to us getting better deals as consumers. A few months ago, Panasonic Lumix registered 2 new cameras in China. One was going to be a lower budget one, and the other was going to be a higher end. Lots of speculations and rumours suggest that this could be Panasonic's new flagship. The naming of the current flagship is S1 and S1R. People believe that this is going to change to S1X, and this announcement is right around the corner. I'll be super surprised if we don't see this announcement by the end of January. This announcement is crucial as it will let us see the foundations for what hopefully will become the S1H Mark II, which is Panasonic Lumix's video-focused flagship hybrid camera. It's anticipated that this camera will have to compete with the likes of the Sony a7S III and rumoured new a7S IV, as it will be in a similar price point. Panasonic have been collaborating with Leica to help them produce their newer cameras, and people believe that the Leica Q3 sensor will end up in the new S1. Now, this is great news, especially for photographers, but for video it's a bit complicated. It is a backside illuminated 60 megapixel sensor. The backside illuminated basically means that it will be better in low light, but 60 megapixel is not normally a good thing for video. Although on Leica's website they do list it with something called triple resolution technology. This allows you to downscale your resolution without pixel binning. I'm guessing this is similar to what Blackmagic do with their newer 12K sensor, which allows you to lower from 12 into 8K and even 4K without cropping in on your sensor. This sensor is sizable enough to capture 8K video, but in a recent interview, someone high up in Panasonic mentioned that they don't believe that buyers are interested in 8K video. So that's a little bit confusing. If we could expect a robust 6K image all the way up to 60 FPS, complemented by 120 FPS in like 4K, both without a crop, and then finally, maybe we could have an 8K image in open gate reading the full sensor, alongside an OLPF filter and the new autofocus system and AI capabilities from Panasonic. Looks like it could be a really promising camera. I believe we might get announcements as early as the first or second week in January. But in the meantime, if you adopt this one trick, it will significantly improve your videos.